Good afternoon. Today on Primetime Network Toronto, on the segment of Nikki Knows. I am, of course, the host, Nicola LaPena. Today we have our star analyst, Christian Ignat, here to talk to us about the main segment of the day, getting around, transportation, the word that's always on the citizens' minds. The ability to move people and goods efficiently is very vital to the economic health of the city. The congestion of regional arteries could be costing the GTA more than $6 billion annually. Focusing on building good, affordable transit and active transportation is very key for our health and environment. I just wanted to bring up a stat right now. A record rate in 2014, 47.2% of all commuters into the city were either biking, walking, or using public transit. In terms of the TTC, ridership reached a record high of 534 million in 2014. That's up 9 million from the years prior. However, the TTC, the Toronto Transit Commission, is working not only to increase the aesthetics, but also the accessibility of a number of subway stations throughout the system. Enhancements are looking to include new elevators and improved signage at Runnymede Station, automatic sliding doors, an accessible fare gate, as well as bicycle parking at Dufferin Station, improved signage, more security cameras, and a new public art installations, as well as 5,000 square meters of green rooftops at Victoria Park Station. And while the service improvements announced in the 2015 budget for the Toronto Transit Commission, they have not actually been implemented yet. However, what they include is 1. Restoration of all-day, everyday bus service. 2. A 10-minute or better bus and streetcar service on key routes from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. 6 days a week. Reduced wait times, crowding at off-peak times, reduced wait times and crowding on 21 of the busiest routes during the rush hours, that includes morning and at night, as well as 50 new buses and temporary storage facilities in order to add 4 new routes on the express bus network. That in itself serves approximately 34 million riders per year. One more thing I wanted to add in terms of the Blue Night Network was 12 new routes, which serves in itself 4 million riders annually, as well as route management improvements to reduce short turns, bunching, and gaping of the buses and streetcars. So, Christian, what's your take on all these new improvements? Can it fit in the budget, and will they succeed?
Yes. The number of commuters who take transit, walk, or bike continues to increase in the city of Toronto. Still, the Toronto region remains rare amongst the world's top cities in having both long commute times and a low percentage of commuters who take something other than their car to work. The average Torontonian spends more time getting to work than the average commuter in any other municipality in the country. Global transportation continues to be one of the key weaknesses in Toronto's labor attractiveness, and the Toronto Regional Board of Trade has low percentage of commuters who take other forms of transit to work other than a car. The 3 most congested cities in North America are Mexico City at 55%, Los Angeles at 39%, and Vancouver at 35%, which is the most congested city in Canada. Toronto is close behind Vancouver, however. Toronto has a congestion level of 31% with an average morning and evening peak of 53% and 66%.
Okay, Christian, so the city of Toronto is congested. It's brutal, clearly. But how many of the citizens use public transport instead of the cars that create this congestion?
Well, actually, Nicola, only 29% of Torontonians use other forms of transit to get to work other than a car. Most of the other ranked North American cities didn't fare any better. Only New York in 11th place with 40%, Montreal in 13th with 29%, better Toronto. Vancouver is just behind Toronto in 15th place with 27.8%. Hong Kong actually placed first, where 88.5% use other mode of transportation other than an automobile to get to work. The scorecard also placed Toronto 15th, unchanged from the 2014 stat, out of the globe's 22 metropolitan cities for average round-trip commute time. It found that Toronto has the longest round-trip commute time, 66 minutes, earning a B grade, of any North American city in the rankings except New York in 18th place with 69.8 minutes. Chicago's in 12th place with 61.9 minutes and received an A grade. Calgary took top spot with a shorter commute of 52 minutes. Increasingly longer commute times have a negative effect on health and intensifies the time crunch that 1 in 5 Ontarians feel caught in, with less time for family, leisure, and community. The GTAH congestion crisis continues to threaten the economy of Canada's largest city and region, and the quality of life of the 6 million residents continues to be at jeopardy. Toronto is the 46th most congested city in the world and 8th most congested in North America, and the 2nd most congested in Canada.
Just getting word now that we're going to have Mayor Reeves live on prime time. Christian, do you have any final thoughts to sum up to the viewers before we get this live interview?
Well, actually, Nick, I'm just going to throw in one more stat. Toronto's drivers actually experience a 23-minute delay per every half hour of time spent on the road, adding up to 87 hours per year. Comparatively, commuters in the most congested city in the world, Istanbul in Turkey, are delayed 110 hours per year.
Thanks for that segment. We're going to go live right now downtown to see Mayor Reeves.
Before we go to Mayor Reeves, we'll hear some opinions of some Toronto citizens that commute on a daily basis. We are now live on location with Xavier and Samuel Chorney, both common commuters on the Toronto streets. Xavier, what do you use to get to work?
I usually drive my dad's car.
And Samuel?
I usually take the TTC.
That's right. And what kind of problems do you encounter on the TTC on your daily commute?
I notice that sometimes it can be very unreliable, as you could sometimes notice that the TTC, the buses or the streetcars or even the subways, they're very slow.
Mm-hmm. And Xavier, there's obviously been a lot of congestion in this city. What kind of problems have you encountered with traffic and such?
Of course, yeah. Usually when I'm coming to school, I avoid Bloor because I know that's a very congested street with a lot of construction, which is very annoying. So I usually take different routes. Yeah.
And have you guys heard of the new smart track plan that the mayor's implementing?
I've not heard of the smart track.
No, I've actually heard about it, and I think it'd be pretty beneficial to the city.
That's right.
You know.
Thank you both for the interview. Now back to the studio.
And we're back live with Mayor Reeves. Mayor, good to have you on the show.
It's good to be here, Nicola. Well, as you and the viewers know, I'm here to talk really about what council and I are striving towards to improve the city in the ways we get around. So just to start off about really reducing vehicle speeds to make active transportation safer. New analysis by Toronto Public Health shows that pedestrians and cyclists are at greater risk of injury in motor vehicle collisions than people are in cars or transit. And Toronto's been named the 5th most dangerous city in Canada to ride a biking. And personally, I cannot accept this. We need to make strides in our city to get better in moving around and have more bikers feel safe. Because 5th in the whole world of the most dangerous bikers is just, I can't, as the mayor of the city, I cannot accept that. Also, meanwhile, cyclist volumes have tripled and vehicle travel times have been positively impacted on Richmond, Adelaide, and Simcoe streets since bike lanes were installed. So as I said, since me and the council have installed the bike lanes, we have seen that it has gotten safer and we've taken down the death rate of the bikers. But barriers to getting around remain for some, and TTC is really dangerous and it's missing a deadline, and we expect by 2025 to be one of the safest cities to get around in. And transportation continues to be one of our key weaknesses in Toronto's labor attractiveness. The Toronto Regional Board of Trade has a low percentage of commuters who take a form of transit other than a car to work and earn in the region. And just personally, like if you can walk or bike or just get outside or take another thing other than a car to work, I recommend it personally.
Mayor, I love that intro you just gave. It really shows integrity of a leader. Now, I want to ask you about the 6-point strategy. It was implemented last year, and clearly it's still developing. Do you have any type of info that the public can have right now about it?
Well, I can tell you this. that there has been better road closure reporting, updated methods for reporting road closures to the City of Toronto and the residents have been implemented to better coordinate road closures with events in Toronto as the city as a whole. There also been like an increased traffic enforcement team. Members of Toronto Police Traffic Unit, parking enforcement and transportation services. I'm sure the citizens have already noticed that. In the last year, we've definitely been hyping up and getting our staff together for getting these facilities and these services up to date. We've had an increased traffic signal retiming, so 350 traffic lights will be retimed over 2015. I know a lot of citizens of the city had been really wanting for that because they had noticed that the timing was really not there for most of these traffic lights. There also has been a clampdown on private construction and transportation services, and I will prepare a report for the city on how to handle lane closures caused by private construction contractors. And you probably know this as well as I do, is one thing I hate in the city, and that is construction on the main roads. So that will be cleared up, and we will get people in to sort of fix that. And also to speed up public construction. So public construction projects will be permitted to operate from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. to expedite their completion, and early completion will be rewarded with cost premiums, and so we can make it financially feasible.
All right, thank you, Mayor Reeves. I'm going to go to Twitter right now and get a couple questions from the citizens. First question: what services will the Smart Track plan have?
Well, as you guys and the viewers know, in February 2015, Council approved a $1.65 million in funding to an accelerated Smart Track work plan. So the Smart Track line would provide service for the Airport Corporate Center in the west, southeast to Union Station, and northeast to Markham in the east, with 22 new stops and 5 interchanges with the TDT's Rapid Transit Network. The original plan promised completion in 7 years, with service starting in 2021. The plan also builds and provides Provincial Regional Express Rail, so the RER. To have the initiative, and the line would operate on a provincially owned GO Transit, and it will require approval from both the council and the province.
Awesome. Let's get to my second Twitter question. This one from DJ Chavy123, and it asks, how can you as a mayor make the relations between the Uber and the cab drivers better?
Well, you know, as you and maybe everyone else knows, the cab drivers and the Uber company have been in conflict. The cab drivers were willing to strike on All-Star Weekend, and thankfully they were able to step down, and we were able to resolve it for now. But the things we need to implement is we need to get the Uber drivers to get more safety regulations. Anyone can just sign up for Uber as long as they have a license. We need to have trained testing, and as well, we need to also really have more control rates for the Uber. And just personally for me, and my final statements, the man before me did not do a very good job. I'm sorry. We need to make Toronto great again.
Thank you for your time, Mayor Reeves. Let's get back to the studio prime time to finish the segment. That concludes our segment. Thank you to Mayor Reeves for talking with us, and thank you to our analyst, Christian Ignat.
It's a pleasure being here, Nicola.
I just want to say one last thing before you leave. 47.2% of Torontonians use walking, biking, or public transit to get to work. Let's get that number up above 50% for this year. I'm Nicola LaPena.
And I'm Christian Ignat.
This segment has concluded. Nikki knows.